I'm going to tell you that you, Peter, have truly changed my business. I have I've had more momentum in the last 6 months than I had had in the 3 years prior. And I am so unbelievably grateful to be part of your program.
Thank you, Jodi. Hey there, and welcome to this Fearless Coach Academy case study interview. Today, I'm super excited, Jodi. I get to interview Jodi Ray Solomon, who is an extraordinary coach, about the work that we've been doing together these last few months. So, Jodi, I just want to start by just having you introduce yourself. Tell me, tell us, tell the viewer a little bit about you and your coaching business, kind of like, who do you coach, what problems do you solve, and how does all that work?
So, my name is Jodi Ray Solomon, and I am the Soul Amazing Coach. And my business is Soul Amazing. And people say, well, what is Soul Amazing? Well, I support women who are really struggling with their inner critic because they feel lost and stuck in life. And they've got this inner critic that is always telling them what they can't do. Oh, girl, you can't do that. But I'm here to help them learn to shut that inner critic off and empower their inner cheerleader so that they can create the life of their dreams. And I do that through my signature GPS for the soul. And really, it's just a 3-step process where I take you through my signature process for you to learn grace, purpose, and soul acceptance so that you can give yourself permission to create the life of your dreams.
I love it. That was awesome. If any of you have watched previous case study interviews with our students, Jodi, I think you pretty much took the cake. Like you nailed it with the messaging there. So I love who you help and what you serve them with, especially because inner critic, right? Our inner critic can be so loud, and it can hold us back in our relationships, in our health, in our careers, in our businesses. So to help them do the deep inner work so that they actually get around or overcome or break through any of those obstacles that they're facing to create the life of their dreams, like you said, is really, really impactful. So I love it. Well, why don't we kind of rewind back to when you and I started coaching? It was probably about 6 months ago, I think. And I want to kind of have you paint a picture or share a little bit about where your coaching business was at when we first started. And what I mean by that is kind of where your clients, lead generation, income, happiness, all those things of where you were when we started.
So when you and I started, Peter, I was really at a place where I thought I knew my messaging, but I really wasn't 100% sure because I hadn't quite given myself permission to just really go for it because I didn't have anyone who was able to provide me some really good feedback. And because of that, I was holding myself back from putting myself out there in front of people to really launch. And furthermore, I was very intimidated by all the things that you have to do, the technical things. I had taken lots of programs that had taught you how to, build your audience through organic leads, where you never had to go and get an ad or a funnel or any of that. And I was like all about that because I did not want to do the technical part. But after 2 years of banging my head on the wall, going, why is my business not moving forward? I realized that I really needed to just get with the technical part of it. So when I talked to you, you really helped me to understand. You were going to hold my hand the whole way while you helped me to understand very succinctly, step by step, how to build a funnel, how to, create the lead generation, both organically and through the technological means, which is really what I was missing.
I thank you for sharing that, because those are two sides that you have to just get to a point of mastery in your messaging and in your marketing. And very few coaches get into coaching because they want to learn marketing. right? Most of them get in there because you want to help your clients. You want to help all the women that you're serving. So I just want to acknowledge you first for being growth minded instead of fixed minded. I talk a lot about this, right? In Fearless Coach Academy is like Carol Dweck wrote a book called Mindset years ago, and how if we have the belief that we're going to be horrible at technology, or we're technology illiterate, or whatever that is, then that becomes our reality, right? And for you, you stepped outside of your comfort zone. You opened your mind to a growth mindset of, okay, I may not be great now, but I'm willing to learn with the right coach, with the right accountability. So I love it. What was the, let me see, what was the main thing that was holding you back? Like when you think about hiring a coach back in that place when we first started, was there any concern? Was there any resistance? Was there anything holding you back from saying, yes, I'm going to go get a coach when you're at that stage?
There were a lot of things for me, there are business coaches out there a dime a dozen, and they're all like, oh, I can help you be a better coach. And they're, as soon as they see that you're a coach, they're pounding on your door and they're saying, come buy my shtick or whatever it is. But I'm that person that I really like to watch somebody to see what their reputation is, let their reputation precede them. And I had actually followed you for 2 years before I had jumped in with you, because I wanted to know if the person that I was looking to hire was really reputable. Did he really know what he was talking about? Was he going to stand the test of time? And, you know, all of that stuff held true to you. You were in so much integrity that I couldn't help but to say, okay, I'm in. I'll say also the second thing that was really holding me back was money, because I was so concerned with how much money I was putting in. And I had to get to a point where I realized and recognized that the amount of money that I was paying for you, I could easily make up in 2 clients. So it really came down to, was I willing to do the work?
Oh my gosh, it always comes down to that, right?
Yes.
First of all, thank you for that acknowledgement that I received that. That means a lot. Um, for you watching this, one thing I want you to take away is that Jodi shared that she had been following me or connected to me for 2 years, 2 years before we had a conversation. And that's why it's so important to consistently show up and communicate your message and serve every single week, every single day, because sometimes people need to see that growth and that evolution, right? And so many of us have our inner critic, don't we, Jodi, where we're like, oh,
Absolutely.
I'm not on my pedestal yet. I haven't arrived at that final destination. Who am I to do this? Where it's like, let's be okay with being transparent and honest of exactly where we're at. And let's document this journey. And that's one of the things that I learned from a mentor of mine years ago, of like, stop trying to hide where you're at. Stop trying to prove that you're beyond where you are. Let's just be real and show up, and people will see where you're at. Some will decide to work with you at that stage. Some will need to see the evolution to feel comfortable. So yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So what are a couple things, 2 or 3 things that you learned from our coaching together that you feel has had the biggest impact on your business and on your life?
Well, first of all, when it came to you, and I said earlier that I was a little stuck about my messaging. I really knew what my messaging was, but I didn't. And you said, let's just try it out. Let's just try it and see if it worked. And that to me was the best advice, coaching advice I could have gotten, was basically just fire and see, and then we'll change course if we need to. So that was a huge moment for me to be able to propel forward. And then being on the weekly calls where I got to see where other people were in their journey, as well as I was, and having that ability actually allowed me to navigate faster.
I love that. Yeah, having kind of that association, right? You're connected to a community of other like-minded coaches that are on a similar journey as you. And like the testing it out, trying it out, it's such an important mindset shift. Because think about all the conditioning we get from the education system, our parents, society we grew up with. We're so conditioned to have to get that A, that grade, that perfection, right? Literally like 22 years of conditioning. And then we go out and we start a career where in order to grow, you need to make mistakes and you need to put stuff out there that doesn't work so you get feedback. And so for you to make that shift is awesome. We call it done is better than perfect, right? We say that a lot in Fearless Coach Academy. And there's a great adage. I think the guy's named Michael Masterson. He wrote a book called Ready, Fire, Aim.
Yes.
Not ready, aim, fire, ready, fire, aim. And that's the philosophy. That's a mindset. And that's what you did with your messaging, which created the confidence, right? Because now it's out there, you're putting it out there, you love it, you're seeing people resonate with it. So that's awesome. Let's zoom into the results that you've gotten. So think back to in the last 6 months, what are some of the results that you've experienced in the business from implementing the coaching and the work that we've been doing together?
So I went from having one client to having 4 clients at this point, more than paid for the program in and of itself. And I have gotten to where I now have my first lead generation out there, which is something that I honestly didn't ever think I'd have, but it was such an easy plug and play type of thing to put it in. Like you showed exactly what you have to do, and all you have to do is model it at that point. And it made it super easy to go and create my funnel and my email sequence based on my ideal client. And so I feel like right now I have the foundation to launch, my business to become, 50, 60,000 just between now and the end of the year. And easily next year, 6 figures at this point.
I love it, Jodi. That is awesome. That is such a huge, monumental accomplishment, is getting that first funnel done. Like that first funnel, like the rest of the funnels, the webinar funnel, the appointment funnel, a lot of that stuff comes pretty effortlessly when you get over the hurdle of that first one. And the first one is the lead magnet funnel, right? You've got that amazing PDF that you're offering to get your ideal clients to raise their hand, to join the conversation, to join your email list, your Facebook group, and so on. So for those of you watching this, if you don't have a funnel yet, that's one of the things that we do in Fearless Coach Academy. It's really important. You need to have a system for generating traffic and for converting that traffic to leads. Because if you don't, and Jodi, you've heard me say this a lot, it doesn't matter how good of a coach you are if no one knows that you exist, right? And so let's solve that problem of getting your name out there and getting their name into your world, even more importantly. So that's great. And we're at 4 clients, which is awesome. So who would you recommend? We've been working together for a while now. Who would you recommend? What kind of coach would you recommend Fearless Coach Academy to?
So, I would definitely recommend somebody who's really starting to understand what their messaging is, starting to understand who their ideal client is, and who's really ready to put themselves out there in a really big way to get their clients, because it does take a little bit of resolve to get behind the camera, create your own videos, that kind of thing. And so I would definitely, for somebody who's at that juncture in their startup business, or even if their business where they want to take it to, another level where they're doing some online marketing as much as they are doing referral business, I think those people who are really tech scared are definitely the ones that need to come in, because you made it so effortless to get through the tech issues of it.
Oh gosh, yes, I love it. What would you recommend to the person who fits that description, who may be scared to actually reach out for support or hire a coach or invest? Like, what about, because think about, there's probably some resistance that you had right on this journey of it's a lot of time or it's a lot of money. What would you share with them?
It goes back to that inner critic because we all have an inner critic that is telling us what we can't do. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You're not ready or whatever. Tell Karen or Fred or whatever you've named your inner critic to go sit in the corner because Peter Scott can really help you. I'm going to tell you that you, Peter, have truly changed my business. I've had more momentum in the last 6 months than I had had in the 3 years prior. And I am so unbelievably grateful to be part of your program.
Oh, thank you, Jodi. That's why I do what I do. Like building a coaching business is not easy. I don't want to oversimplify it. There's times when we make it easier than it would be on your own for sure. But this is why, Jodi, I do what I do. To hear you share this, like this motivates me because there's times when things can get challenging, right? And we doubt ourselves. And so if you are watching this and you're a coach, remind yourself of this moment, like when you get to serve and show up and deliver to your clients in ways where you get to see and witness the impact. There's nothing as fulfilling as that in a career, in my opinion. So, Jodi, thank you for sharing your story and for doing this interview. Where could people go? I would imagine there's may even be some women watching this that are like, hey, I want to quiet my inner critic. So where can they go to connect with you?
You can connect with me at soulamazing.com. That's SOUL amazing.com.
Awesome. Soulamazing.com and Jodi Ray Solomon if you want to connect on social, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. And if any of you want help with growing your coaching business, like Jodi shared, that's what we love to do in Fearless Coach Academy. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you to explore if or how we can help. Simplest way, if you're watching this on social, maybe just send me a private message and say hello, and we can take it from there. If you want to actually just go directly and schedule a 15-minute brainstorm call with us where we can map out a game plan and really kind of identify the fastest path to get to a six-figure coaching business, then just go to earn100kcoaching.com. You can fill out a quick survey, schedule a call, and we can connect soon. Okay. Jodi, thank you again for being here today. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Peter, for all you've done.
You're welcome. See you soon.